it's also been said that anyone who follows a crowd will never be followed by a crowd. Right? And so this really has been a week of a lot of thought, at least on my end, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from you that you've been giving and thinking a lot about stepping out of the crowd and waking up. And I'd like to give a little postscript to last week, although I promise not to throw any expletives out this week. Although it did have its effect. For those of you who weren't here watching on some TV. Last week, for those of you who weren't here, we shared with you about the sudden death of a very sweet, dear friend of ours, John Upton, who had been killed in his own front yard with gun violence by a neighbor. And we found out some more details that I want to share with you, because this is truly stepping out of the crowd, and the reason why it's so important. What we found out, we had talked a little bit about John's fiery nature. And that fiery nature allowed him to do anything he put his mind to. If he was passionate about something or helping someone, there was no stopping him. But that also made him an interesting character in your life, because passion goes everywhere. Passionate person is passionate about everything. So, but what we found out, we found out that the altercation with his neighbor was over trees. John loved life, and the neighbor was cutting down trees to make way for a road that couldn't be built anyway. So John was trying to say, please don't kill these trees. You're not going to get the permit for the road. And so they had this altercation. Well, John finally, in his heart, came to peace with there were two workers, two gentlemen who witnessed the shooting. They testified that John came out not with anger. John actually had made such peace in his heart over what the neighbor was doing as far as killing the trees, that he went out and said, look, if you want me to, I'll move my car. If it'll make it easier for you, I'll move my car. But the neighbor had already made up his mind that if John said a word to him, his life was over. He had a gun in his hand wrapped with a sweater, and that was the end of it. Yeah. Now, so here's this sort of thing is very shocking and makes us even sadder, but it also has the potential to wake us up, because here's what I want to say from that. First of all, I was thrilled when I heard that John's last feelings were of reconciliation and peace and surrender. That says a lot about him as a soul. So I'm really thrilled. To die like that, and Barbara Martin felt the same way, it was karma. So it was going to happen. There was something, it was in his tapestry of life, more than likely. But when it happened, he was free of resentment and anger. That's huge for a soul. Huge. Now, his soul knew it was the end of his time, but his mind didn't remember. So for us, let's really, we had a beautiful conversation with Tony and Marcia on Friday night about speaking your truth with love. Learning to speak our truth with, I think that's that whole huge Mercury retrograde we just came out of. That's the big lesson. Everybody's being pushed to speak your truth. And the other thing about stepping out of the crowd, what happened was, as I spent some time, was very blessed to spend time with both Bailey and Evelyn, the two sweet loves, closest loves of John's life. They said the most inspiring thing to me, and I kept texting them after they left, it was so inspiring. When asked if they hated the killer, they said no. And Evelyn said, if I hate the killer, it will annihilate my spirit. And neither of them have expressed hate, Bailey or Evelyn. They're sad. They're confused. They're thrown off, they're out of their life a little bit because it was the course. But you see, this is what we prepare for. This is why we do yoga. This is why we meditate. Because we don't know when those situations are going to come up in our life. We do not know. The soul does. And so, can you imagine, put yourself in that position. Someone that you love, and it was Evelyn's birthday. Evelyn was in the house taking phone calls from Switzerland for happy birthday. She puts the phone down and hears bang, bang, and goes outside. Her life has changed forever. And John's mother had died that day. What a day. Now, put yourself in that position and someone takes your dear friend or your love's life away. And immediately from even in all the processing and all the crying and the anger and everything that comes up, could you say, you know what? I cannot hate. I have no hate. Because they understand that the cosmic law will take care of that situation. Didn't Buddha say that hate is poison in the blood of the person who is hating? You think you're destroying the other person, but hate, Buddha said, runs like poison in your own blood. This is what we work for. This is the day-to-day. And we don't even have to think too much about what is my lesson? How can I prepare for that? All we have to do is look at the incidents in our lives. Our lives are choreographed to bring us the lessons and of the next step. We don't have to look any further. And you don't have to go to school. You're in school. And you don't have to seek anything. Just pay attention to what's universe is giving you in your life. Let's all pay attention and not miss a meditation because we can't afford to. Things are going to get a little crazier before they calm down because humanity is holding on to the herd mentality and the right to be angry and the right to hate. And can't you see, so then they have these people that step out of the crowd. They're our teachers. Bailey, you're our teacher. You just have so inspired me. I can only hope to be half the yogini you are in this situation, in the big situations. And we're so privileged to have you in our community.
To the soul and to you, I have strength,
Mm.
wisdom, and love and support. And it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, we need each other. We lean on each other. And and we might also say, some might say, I don't think anyone in this room, because we talk this way a lot, but there might be the question is why? Why can't I hate this guy? Look what he did. Why? If we can change, if we can bring love and understanding and big picture into the present moment, our whole future will change. You see how Bailey and Evelyn and everyone who's not, now there are family members that in John's family that are choosing to hate and go after the family of the assassin, that sort of thing. They're choosing. They're setting up a particular rhythm in their life that they're going to have to live in this energy. Can you see the reason for not choosing to hate would be to change your own life? Not only that, but the momentum, the high vibrational momentum that we get when we choose peace, inner peace, and understanding and trust in the divine. When we come back next lifetime as a child, as a baby, these qualities will have their full expression from the get-go. So can you see how life after life, not just month after month or week after week, our whole life, all lives until the path to mastery will be more filled with peace. And if you ask many people what they really would like, what they really need, I think many would answer inner peace. And but it is the road less traveled. Mm. So I have, I want to just end my part of the talk with a little example of that inspired me. And this is something that these are sort of footprints to step into if you want to be a particular kind of master. So here's the story. My daughter Shauna posted this on her Facebook page. She's a big animal lover, a big child lover, and she posted on. So it's a story of of elderly dog who was living in a family that loved him very, very much, and he had a 6-year-old little guy in the family. And so the veterinarian was called in and to look at him. He wasn't feeling well. And she discovered that he was riddled with cancer. Riddled with cancer. So when the time came, she said to the family, it's time to let him go. And they thought about it and they said, okay, but please, can we do it at home? Can you come to our house? And they also decided that their 6-year-old little son should be there and experience it so that he could see the whole process of life. And so it happened. The day came, and the vet came, and the family stood around and loved that dog to its last breath. And the little boy was very calm and very centered. And they said to him, how are you feeling? He said, fine. And they said, well, why are you feeling fine? He said, I've been thinking about it. And because they asked him, he probably couldn't figure out why dogs don't live as long as humans. And he said, I understand why dogs don't live as long as humans. Because dogs, he said, isn't the purpose of life to love and to be a good friend and to be happy? He said, that's what dogs do. They don't have to live as long as humans. Right? Humans takes us all this time, a whole lifetime, to get what a dog is. Naturally. So talk about another teacher. Dogs can be our teachers. So the veterinarian was so moved by the 6-year-old's wisdom, she wrote some ideals that we could learn from the dog. They're really good. Live simply. Live generously. Care deeply. Speak kindly. Remember, remember when loved ones come home, always run to greet them. Now think of it, really. Now think about what we were talking about before. John was here, John was gone. When your loved ones come home, always run to greet them. Never pass up an opportunity for a joyride. Allow the experience of fresh air and the wind in your face to be pure ecstasy. Right? I like this one. Take naps. Uh-oh, I lost it. Here we go. This is a good yogic one. Stretch before rising. Right? Run, romp, and play daily. Yes. Thrive on attention and let people touch you. Right? This is good. I like this one. Avoid biting when a simple growl will do. close with tempers. Avoid biting when a simple growl will do. That's speaking your truth, right? Just don't bite. On warm days, stop to lie on your back on the grass. On hot days, drink lots of water and lie under a shady tree. When you're happy, dance around and wag your entire body. This starting to sound like immersion, isn't it? Delight in the simple joy of a long walk. The next one is very important. Be loyal. Never pretend to be something you're not. I always think those little dogs, they always try to pretend that they're Great Danes. Most dogs have that down. If what you want lies buried, dig deep until you find it. And lastly, from our doggy friends, when somebody is having a bad day, be silent, sit close by, and nuzzle them gently.
Oh.
You've got kids and dogs.
Kids and dogs. Well, it is true, isn't it, that a lot of us will learn what would seem to be the hard way, meaning that someone we love is not here one day or taken away from us, and then we realize, oh my gosh, I just loved everything about her or him. Even the stuff that used to drive me crazy, I wish for anything that they were still doing that right now. Right? And so on the other side of that, though, is to look. We're all here. We're all breathing right now. We're all dressed up, meaning that you dressed up to come to a community gathering where we're just have open hearts. We're dressed up in our hearts. We're dressed up in our true natures to just be as loyal and as loving and as beautiful as, the dog. And let's start appreciating more these little things. If we had a computer printout of all the times in one day, any day, just it's not like some days, but every single day, if you had a printout of the ways that this divine love, this omnipresent divine love is nudging you and is there for you through different people, through different situations, through, yes, the loved ones, most ever. God, they're God in disguise, Your true friends is God in disguise. And your loved ones are there and they are taking care of you on a regular basis. And really, it is not going to serve us anymore to take that at all for granted. At all for granted. Because that printout would say, oh my gosh, this is how divine is taking care of me. Unspeakably, constantly, unconditionally taking care of me through the little things that my friends do. And it's easy, isn't it? Somehow, I don't know why, but in the human condition, a lot of things we don't understand being human. But isn't it true that we aren't necessarily able to take in that love? Like the dog, when you're petting it, will just maybe turn over and just take it in. Right? Isn't it sometimes difficult for us, even though a loved one or a friend will repeatedly say, I love you. I love you. Have we let that just kind of just go in one ear and out the other? What if we trained ourselves to receive that affection and not think that, oh yeah, they just say that, but that's really coming from the universe to us saying, I love you. I love you. What if we can just now receive more love? This is a funny condition that we're in, a human condition, And I've been thinking a lot about the human condition and how easy it is for us to get off mark because, we think we're human and we have all these thoughts and feelings which can be so many in one day. and so much variety, and many of them aren't in harmony with one another. But you know what the first gift of the soul is? And the first gift when you say to the divine, look, I'm so serious now. I'm so serious about seeking deeply and digging deeply until I discover who I am and how precious that is, and discover then how precious you are and how it's not really you in these physical bodies. It's divine. It's divine love. That's who it is in each of our bodies. But, you know, the first gift of a deep search for truth is this. Because in a deep search for truth, what we're offering to the divine is ourselves back. Did any of you have much to do with you coming in to the womb? Huh? You just, the little stork dropped you in there, didn't they? And even now we don't know. Like John, we don't know from one minute to the next what's going to happen, and we don't really know where we're going after this incarnation, and there's just so many unknowns to everything. But wouldn't it be just awesomely cool that you and I can just stand back a little bit from everything and see this tapestry and this divine order of events in our life, nudging us, drawing us closer and closer into our soul. And as we full on go for that, here's the gift. It is the gift because you're giving something back. The first thing love does, true love does, is empower you. And you know what it empowers you to do? It empowers you to love your humanity. It empowers you to accept, for starters, everything that is your human nature that you might not be so proud about, or you might not be so grooving about, and other people's human natures, you know. It empowers you specifically to look at your feelings. Feelings, powerful things. Very, very powerful things is feelings. And oftentimes we're not so pleased with those either. And oftentimes those feelings get us in a heap of trouble too, because they're stirred up and then they get caught up in the delusion, and then all of a sudden we're making some very not so good choices. But this empowering love that comes when each of us are in this deep search for truth and offering ourselves back to the divine, it will help you to embrace the feelings that you have, and embrace your thoughts, and embrace you not feeling good. Have you ever known? You know why it's so difficult for people to meditate? Because they don't feel good. They sit in this body house and they close their eyes, and not only are the thoughts going everywhere, but then you have this, you know, all these emotions going, and then maybe you're not physically feeling well. Just not physically feeling well, which is really easy to do if we're not in tune with the divine laws. So it's really, really a difficult condition we're in as humans. But it's so important that we each have this deep motivation to seek truth. Just plain and simple, right? Keep it simple. And what is truth? Truth is unconditional love. Truth is that you and I are light beings, that we cannot be diseased, we cannot be hurt. We live forever as immortals. This is aspects of truth, you know. But to now understand that when truth comes into you, it's going to help you to be more comfortable under your skin. Like today. Just check out and just watch the feelings and watch your thoughts. And then notice that when they're not so positive, we can get pretty nasty. With ourselves first and foremost, and maybe with others, or maybe the word instead of nasty is indifferent. Just indifferent to how the divine is orchestrating all this divine love in our lives, all this caring and all this nurturing and all this kind of just saying, here, just follow this. This will lead you perfectly where you can go, where it enhances your life today and enhances everyone else's life today. So let that love come into your heart, everybody, and don't be so afraid of your feelings. even if they're kind of dark ridden, and even if there's resentment still in there, and whatever. That's where we need to work as yogis and as spiritual beings. We need to just be fearless in feeling our feelings. And that empowerment of that divine love will do the work for you. Don't go into your feelings alone. Don't try to attempt to understand your feelings alone. We need to give ourselves back to the divine flow and let the divine flow come in and then do its magic, just like this constant having a dog by your side. Constant, nurturing, constant running to you when you come home, never asking, well, why are you in a mood today? It doesn't care. It just kisses you and is there for you. That's what we want, this empowered love flowing into us to do with our own feelings and our own thoughts. Someone just told me before the talk that yesterday was a day. Remember that book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus? Right? And then a tune back in my day was, Venus, if you will, please send a little girl from Native Thrill. Remember that song? Paul Anka or something? Bobby who? Okay, Bobby Benton, all right. So, but anyway, that goes back. But anyway, yesterday, was it Mars and Venus? Hugging together. Yesterday was conjunction of the Venus, or that divine feminine of our nature, and the Mars, which has got a bad rap. The Mars, the Martian energy, that male energy, that warring energy, that's not so. Now the new astrology is talking about that Mars is ruled by divine love as well. But there was a conjunction yesterday of Venus and Mars just hanging out, cuddling with each other.
In Aries.
In Aries. New beginnings for all of us to have more balance between our reason and our feeling. And if you want to have more balance in your reason and your feeling, we need to somehow open up a valve here in the heart. We got to let things start to flow more. We don't realize how this universe is just this constant, unbelievable flow. Nothing is stagnant in this universe. And if you and I get stuck, which is so easy to do, in our feelings, in our thoughts. I mean, we could get so stuck that we carry over from lifetime to lifetime the same bitterness, right? The same paradigm from lifetime to lifetime. And the universe can't flow through somebody that is getting stuck in their human nature, right? But when we can just allow it to flow in and out, then we're going to have that beautiful balance of the yin and the yang. We're going to feel that reason can be pure and the feeling can be pure. And when reason is pure and the feeling is pure, you're going to be totally divine. When that reason is pure, you could say it's wisdom. And when that feeling is pure feeling, then you could say that that's true love. So I think that this is such an auspicious day, not only to check out that computer printout of just how much love is in your lives, how much love is coming through those close ones. And don't get in your head about it and say it should be a certain way. Just notice how God is taking care of you through your friends and your loved ones. And then to watch for every time something new, something more beautiful, something that is just so adorable in the sense of being just like totally ridiculously, this is a divine hand in my life. Be on the lookout for those things. And that could come in the form of deeper, purer feelings. As grace, as a gift. Because each of you are so adored by God, so incredibly adored by God. And we think, oh man, I got a mountain load of karma to work through before I get a good feeling in my heart, right? Nonsense. Nonsense. You know, if the heart turns And we don't now need the tragedy to have it turn, right? This is what I'm getting from 2 weeks now. We've talked about what this thing with John. In 2 weeks, we've had a chance to be with Bailey and Evelyn and to see how miraculously their hearts has risen to the occasion not to hate that person who did that to John, right? But if there's anything to learn from all of this, is the truth of the matter. And that truth of the matter is that right now, today, while we're in physical body, while we're breathing a breath, that you and I can go direct access by just turning our heart to the light, by turning our heart, even if it's in complete surrender, and turning our minds into our hearts, and just feel that everything is now very, very clear and simple and focused in my life. Because I may not be here tomorrow. And I want to make sure then today that my loved ones know how much I love them. And that goes for all of you too. Because we've been seeing you now for many, many Sundays in a row coming here. And I hope that you leave here with your hearts feeling lighter, right? And your mind's a little more kind of resting in the fact that your heart is feeling lighter. And then the mind will love to surrender into that heart that's feeling lighter. And I hope that as well, that then when you go home without using words necessarily, right? But just that beautiful smile or just that beautiful energy coming off of you, that does wonders. And I know some of you have had husbands or wives come home from doing their yoga practice and all that and realize, oh my God, you know. In fact, we hear it time and time again when that happens and one's not a practitioner, so to speak, but they always say to the other when the other isn't having the best of days, would you please go to yoga? I want you, why not, honey, why don't you go and do your yoga thing? So I guess it's just to be a little more sensitive, you know. Just a little more subtle rather than you and I, you know, kind of extinguishing the flame of divine presence, you know, because we're just kind of still kind of crude in these human bodies. And let's get a little more subtle so we can feel the magic, so we can feel the light and love that is just all over you and me with butterfly kisses.